So with the recent release of the Switch 2 and the new Mario Kart game, Mario Kart World, I decided I'd get back to a series that I kind of started a couple weeks ago but never really picked up on, where I'm just going to be ranking game series. And this one is Mario Kart, and I was specifically waiting for Mario Kart World to come out so I could get a feel for it and see where I think it belongs on the list. And at this rate, I actually have played every single mainline Mario Kart and own them on original hardware, so yeah. The only ones I'm going to be leaving out are the 4 entries in the Arcade GP series. I've only ever tried, I think, DX, but I feel like they're just a whole different story, and since I haven't tried the other 3, I'm just not going to include them here. But in total, we have 11 games to cover, and this is of course including Mario Kart Tour. And of course this list is just opinionated, but I will try and justify myself with each listing, because I'm sure I'm going to say some things that people aren't going to be a fan of. So let's get to it. I guess I kind of have to put at number 11 the bottom, Mario Kart Tour. I wanted to put something else that we'll get to next, but just objectively, Mario Kart Tour isn't even like a video game. It's just like watching a video almost. Like it's designed to be played with a finger, one finger that kind of it like physically, literally can't hold up or compare itself to the other ones, no matter what it does. Even if it has like I think the biggest roster technically and probably the most tracks technically. You know, everyone hates Mario Kart Tour. I won't even get flack for making fun of it myself. But anyway, number 10, if we're talking about the actual Mario Kart games. Now, this isn't something you'll usually see people do, because usually they'll be like, oh, blah, blah, blah is the worst, and then Super Mario Kart. Gotta give credit to the one that started it all. Yeah, sure, give credit to the one that started it all, but not in a tier list. I'm sorry. Super Mario Kart is the worst one. I feel like that's just kind of objectively the case. As the one that started it all, it just has the least. It's the least polished. I mean, driving in this game is just horrible. It's like an eyesore trying to process a little pseudo 3D of the mode 7. The physics are terrible. The AIs cheat worse than they do in pretty much any game, like jumping over items, getting infinite free custom items whenever they want. And all of the tracks are just boring and or horrible. There really isn't like any saving grace to this game, so aside from the fact that, oh yeah, it's the first one, I really don't understand why people like it so much. In fact, I've seen SNES game tier lists that this is just always in like the top 10. It's like, okay, yeah, it's sold well, it's popular, and Mario is in it. That doesn't mean it's good, because it's not. Like, how about bottom 10 SNES game? Sorry. Anyway, next up at number 9 is Mario Kart Super Circuit, because it's essentially just Super Mario Kart 2. Going from Super Mario Kart to 64 to Super Circuit, what a roller coaster that is. You go from trash to Mario Kart 64, I can't say anything about it because that'll spoil where I put it on the list. Then back to trash. Yeah, I'm sorry, Super Circuit stinks as well, because it pretty much is just like Super. The only reason it's higher is because it's a little more polished and adds some more stuff, and I guess, realistically, it probably has the most base tracks of any mainline Mario Kart, since you have, first of all, 5 Nitro Cups with 4 tracks each, in addition to every single track from the first game. But that doesn't change the fact that it's still, like, not actually 3D, and I like retro games and like old games that did what they could with their hardware, but like even I can't really get around trying to be 3D. Like, if you can't do it, don't do it. I mean, there are literal like 3D looking games on the Game Boy Advance. Like, there are 3D racing games even that have vertical axes and stuff. I think it's called like V-Rally 3. Like, that, it looks like it could be like a DS game. Then you have this. This is like official Nintendo stuff, and it can't even achieve that. So, yeah, sorry. Next up at number 8 is one that I honestly thought I would like a lot, because it's arguably the most unique in the main series, but I just didn't. And that's Mario Kart Double Dash. considering Mario Kart Super Circuit kind of like was a preemptive start to the whole retro track things that DS would later go on to really solidify, Double Dash didn't do that for some reason. There is pretty much the least tracks of any Mario Kart game ever, alongside 64, but you can't really blame 64 for being the second one. This is the fourth, so there were 3 other games to go off of at this point. And that's not really my biggest gripe, though. My biggest problem with this game, and the people I've played it with who, like, actually hate it, maybe even more than I do, is the mechanics. It feels like the most different from any of the other Mario Karts, at least the 3D ones that are, like, actually playable. Literally, I don't know what it is. It's like when you turn in a regular Mario Kart, or I don't know, in real life, or in a driving game, you know, you turn. But in Mario Kart Double Dash, your car turns, but you just keep sliding across the ground in the direction you were driving. That's what it feels like, at least, and that's what I remember. From here, I'm gonna get a little controversial and say Mario Kart Wii. This is pretty much everyone's nostalgia bias pick, I feel like. I didn't grow up with this one. In fact, we'll get to my nostalgia bias pick later, and yes, I will admit that my number 1 spot is heavily because of nostalgia, but, you know, this is just an opinionated tier list, so whatever. I didn't get Mario Kart Wii until, like, 2023, and I finally tried it out, and, you know, it's good, but there are still things I'm not a big fan of. First of all, I will be honest, I'm a much bigger fan of less racers in a race. Like, I was never really a fan of this game in 8, how they have 12 players in a race. I always liked it when it's, like, 8. Like in 64 and DS and 7 and all the other older games. Because when there's just those 4 extra players, especially in Mario Kart Wii, something with the items, it's just such like a... Like, you just can't catch a break, it feels like sometimes. There's just way too much happening at times, and all the items they added were kind of trashy. The Mega Mushroom coming back in World feels a lot better, but honestly, in Wii, where the tracks weren't designed to be open world and much bigger, it's like you're just bouncing off the walls all over the place, and then the POW block is just kind of annoying. Then you have that useless thundercloud, which is maybe the worst thing they've ever thought of. I will say, though, Mario Kart Wii adds some of the best tracks in the series, and I'm not saying I don't like it, I'm just saying it's kind of like the middle ground. Like, it's not the greatest thing ever, but it's not bad. Moving on from that, this is just kind of, this one doesn't really need to be here, but I put the original Mario Kart 8, and that's only because I actually haven't tried it. I do own it, we just haven't tried it yet, but we kind of don't have to, because I can kind of just think like, okay, I like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, this is just that, but a little worse, so we can just put it here, right around where Wii is, maybe interchangeable, or just get rid of it since I guess I haven't played it actually. Anyway, from there, the next 3, I really don't know how I want to order them, but I think I'll start with Mario Kart 7, which honestly used to be my favorite, but the more I've played it again recently, something about it just feels like janky. I don't even think that's the word. I don't know what it is. I just didn't find myself enjoying it as much as I used to. But that's not saying I still don't like it. Obviously I do. I have it at number 5 here. If this was like a tier list, for example, which I think I said it was many times actually. I don't think I actually meant to say that. It's a ranking, which is pretty much the same thing. I would put this in A still, even in just like a general video game tier list. It is a good game. However, just like Wii, all of the items it added are kind of trashy. Not really a fan. Kind of useless stuff. Like the tail. Ew. And the characters it added, like, probably the weirdest cast ever. What is it, like Wiggler, Lakitu, and Honey Queen? I don't really know what that's all about. But again, good Mario Kart, and easily one of the greatest cups of all time, being its Lightning Cup. So it's got that going for it, and honestly, before I went back and played it a little more recently and changed my opinion about it, I did have it above 8 Deluxe, but realistically 8 Deluxe is essentially just like the almighty version of Mario Kart 7, and honestly that's kind of what like the whole series is, and I'll explain that a little more later. But for now, just so I don't turn any heads, I'm actually going to put the next 2 in the same spot. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Mario Kart 64. Yeah, I said it, I put these on the same level. Mario Kart 64, you know, there's a lot, like, old games, people, especially from like the Gen 5 era, like Nintendo 64 and stuff, I feel like these are the ones that are just going to be like forever timeless, And, you know, people admit that they've aged a bit because Gen 5 has aged quite a bit, but honestly, I have such a big bias for it since, as of like 2023, I've been heavy collecting N64 just because I love 90s stuff. I guess because I have FOMO since I wasn't actually alive then. I also just love the art styles of these games, and it's not even because most of them were intentional, it's just that that's how it had to look. But I really like Mariokart 64. It was also the first game I got with my N64. Honestly, if they made like a modern version of this, like just with like improved mechanics a little bit, not even that, maybe just like improved graphics, which I wouldn't even care to see improved graphics. Like I said, I love these 64-bit, 32-bit era graphics. If it just got like a little modern polish, this could easily be maybe my favorite. I mean, Mario Kart 64, jumping up from Super Mario Kart is I think, one of the greatest jumps from one game to the second in a series ever. It actually has so much like polish to it and so many things in it that aren't even necessarily in the series anymore that I just really like to see here. First of all, it's got my soft spot, the 8 players in a race, which I like to see. It's also got a really generous item pool. Like, a lot of times you'll be getting stars in third, which honestly for this game I think is a good thing. It's also got a pretty solid track selection, again, especially stepping up from Super Mario Kart. And I arguably want to say it has the greatest battle mode ever. As I mentioned earlier, you have the bomb cars. It's the only game where that's a thing. If you die in battle mode, you get one last shot, you turn into a bomb, and you get to blast someone. It's also, no one really talks about this, but they actually changed the way the balloon battle works in Mario Kart. Back in the older games, I think up to DS, it was like a death match. You have balloons, if you run out, you're out. And that's how it was here, just with the addition of one extra life of the bomb. But then since Wii, it's been honestly, I think, worse, which is another reason I don't really like Wii as much, because it changed that. It was changed so that you just have infinite balloons, you keep coming back, it's just how many balloons can you pop. But honestly, that just feels like even more of like a, oh, can I get a red shell? If yes, I can get points. Like in the older version of battle modes, you can play for placement pretty much. Like, oh, these guys are going at it, I can just hide over here. But in the newer ones, you have to play. And what if I don't want to? What if I want to be sneaky and then come in and go for the final hit? It's just a little nitpick I have. And yes, I will be talking about this game in 8 Deluxe for a while, just to justify myself. Because I didn't even finish this thought earlier. Mario Kart 64 is one game I've seen from the N64 era that people are, I think, finally starting to really admit that, like, alright, yeah, we've got nostalgia for this. It's actually not good, but I don't have nostalgia for it. I'm a little Gen Z boy, and I can say Mario Kart 64 is good and one of the best. I think the reason I put 8 Deluxe and 64 in the same spot is because I almost want to say subjectively I actually like 64 more, but objectively, obviously 8 Deluxe is infinitely better. I mean, 8 Deluxe is probably the most, like, actually polished Mario Kart experience ever. However, I will be honest, one thing I don't really like about the newer games is the kart customization, which I guess technically is only in 7 and 8, which is one reason they're not as high as maybe some people might have thought. I actually like the games like Mario Kart 64, where it's just, you pick a character, and they have this stat. The more complex the customization is, the more it just seems like no matter what combo I pick, my car sucks in some unique way every time. Most of the time it's because I'm just crashing in every wall. Mario Kart 64, you can just pick a character, and you're just driving. Like, you can get it down to a T so fast. But anyway, yeah, obviously Mario Kart 8 deserves to be high up, or specifically 8 Deluxe, because it also improved in many ways upon Mario Kart 8, the original one. And if you count the booster course pass as part of it, it gets even better, but at the same time you could also take many points off of the game for that, for having paid DLC, because paid DLC is evil. Anyway, I'm going to move on because I yapped for a while there. And number 2, and this might be recency bias, we've got Mario Kart World. No, I'm not going to put it at number 1, I've got something better, and you know what that is. But Mario Kart World, yeah, there's no denying, at least for now, it's very good. Maybe even more polished than Mario Kart 8. Honestly, I would put it at number 1, but I hate to say it, I don't like the 24 players in a race. Like, it's literally, you're either all the way in the back, all the way in number 1, or you're just somewhere in a jumble of 20 people all in the same exact spot. Just bombs, horns, stars, explosions, everyone dying. It's just like, alright, is this a driving game, or is this just like kick the buddy? What is even happening here? I will say, Knockout Tour is actually really fun. I'm surprised I didn't come up with something like this earlier. It's arguably better than Grand Prix, if you ask me. And there, I do like the idea of 24 players, because you have to start with a lot to, take it down to 1. But in the regular Grand Prix, I wish you could just actually customize how many players there were. At least in the Versus mode, but they don't give you that option. They also don't let you customize the items like they did in 8, so I don't know why they did that. Also, this is one of the first games ever to bring in all of the arbitrary, arguably really horrid redesigns for a lot of characters. I am very nostalgia clingy, so seeing all these characters get these random redesigns for no reason really kind of bothers me, especially since I've said this, I don't know if I've said this on this channel before, but I've said this to other people in real life. They all look like one of those dogs that ate a bee, or like someone stuck like a syringe in their face and just pumped them full of air. Like, why did we even have to redesign them? I don't know. And this has nothing to do with the game, really. It's just me. Just me yapping, because that's what I do best, I guess. But yeah. I don't know what other people think about the redesigns. I know some people aren't a fan either, especially DK. I still don't understand what the point of that was. Anyway, that aside, Mario Kart World is a great Mario Kart. And even if I change my mind in the future, it'll definitely remain close to the top of the list. And one more thing about the game, the open world, free roam stuff, there is literally so much to do. It is probably the most to do in any Mario Kart game ever, so it's a lot of fun. But probably the second most to do, and really the only other Mario Kart to have any kind of missions like that, you know exactly what it is. Number 1 is Mario Kart DS, the king of racing games. Probably my favorite racing game of all time. One of my favorite DS games. The best Mario Kart. It's just true. Maybe it's nostalgia. I don't know. This is the one I grew up with, so yeah, it's probably nostalgia. But no, literally, it is the only game that actually has a devoted mission mode and boss fights in a racing game. Like, that's really cool. Of course, it also has that original version of Balloon Battle, which is just so much better, and technically it's the only Mario Kart that actually has like a full-fledged version of that battle mode, because in Super and 64 and Super Circuit, you could only do the battle with other people, and I think the same goes for Double Dash as well, but this one you can actually play the battle mode with just 7 other bots. Because honestly, sometimes I go to Mario Kart 64 and I'm like, okay, if there's one thing I could change about this, I wish you could play the battle mode with bots. That would be so much fun, because I don't always have other people I can do it with. In fact, I barely do. So yeah, it has that going for it. It also has the emblems, which is pretty much the only time anything like that has ever been in the game, or in the games, outside of the stickers in the new game. It's also just got a great art style, but that's just me. Like I said, I really like these old, archaic 3D games. It's also got some of the best tracks ever, like Airship Fortress and Waluigi Pinball, of course. But honestly, like, just in general, I genuinely think this is like the most just solid, pick up and play, user-friendly. And one more thing, which I meant to say for 7 as well, which is another reason I really like 7 more than I should, is the dual screen on both of these games. They're both designed for DS and 3DS. I also have a big bias for games just for simply being on these consoles, because there's so many more options when they are. You have 2 screens instead of 1. So, like in no other game, in Mario Kart DS, and I guess 7 too, you can screen peek where other people are on the map in a zoomed in mode and a zoomed out mode, see what items they're holding, which is so useful, see where items are ahead of time on the map. You can practically just look at the bottom screen, like if you get bloopered, just to navigate. It's so cool. And to this day, Mario Kart DS is definitely the one I have the most fun just going back to. Good try, Mario Kart World. You can't dethrone nostalgia, and just a game that has stood the test of time, but you are good. And Mario Kart is a fairly good series outside of, you know, some games. But yeah, that was my ranking of the series. Other people obviously will disagree or defer in some ways, but that's just me. For now, if you like this one, consider liking, commenting, and subscribing, and thanks for watching.